impermanence, and the next one is dissolving attachment, and then the aspect of suffering, what suffering is, and the perception of ownership. And what we'll do is work through each one of these. We'll treat them like meditations, maybe like 10-minute meditations, and we'll see how they feel for us, and see if there's any questions. I think that's the best way to go through this and work with this. You'll notice that since death is such a powerful teaching, and it's nothing that we should shy away from, it's inevitable. We have so much to learn from it, that there are aspects of death and the understanding of death and how it pertains to the insight or this Dhamma that we're actually using. And again, the first one is impermanence. We've been talking about impermanence a little bit already. And it's one of the more profound aspects of the Buddhist teachings. And again, it is one of the Buddha's insights, and how this understanding of impermanence can work for us and can change our lives for the better. So go ahead and close your eyes, make yourself comfortable. Please remember that these are just suggested topics, of contemplation, and they're very good examples of what we could or should be regarded as the absolute truth for us. Technically, anything can be used for contemplation, any subject, but these are, we want to use insights, we want to use dhammas, teachings, and these are some of the, I think, better examples that we can use. So just for a few moments, bring your attention to the breath. Allow the breath to relax the body and take the mind into a state of presence. Just allow the stillness to come in. Give yourself permission to go on that mental vacation for a few moments. Any contraction of the mind, we want that to be freed up. We want spaciousness. Spaciousness and clarity. With the concentrated mind, contemplate that all conditioned things are impermanent. And notice how the mind searches for something that's not impermanent when this is asked. Oftentimes, the searching for something that's not impermanent will continue until it's proven wrong. And in many cases, it can take a while, but in lots of cases, it's very clear that impermanence is the nature of all things. Contemplate impermanence continuously until realizing how everything is always in a state of change. It's always in a constant flow. Even the hardest of substances, like a diamond does not stay the same. The diamond changes from a rock in the ground, and then it's cleaned, and then it's cut into a stone that's fit for mounting, if that's what we're using it for. And of course, the gold or silver that the diamond's being mounted on is changing and tarnishing. We can understand that. Silver tarnishes, gold tarnishes. But the diamond itself is changing, but on a microscopic level. But it's changing just as well. And in fact, every day the diamond is changing. The person that owns the diamond looks at the diamond every day. And the person that is doing the looking is changing even more. So the idea of what that diamond stands for, what it was purchased for, and why it's owned, the idea of the diamond changes within the mind at the same time that the material of the diamond is changing as well. So everything is constantly changing. Whether something provides happiness or is a source of pain, it is changing. Everyone that we have ever met in our lives has changed. Everything that we've ever seen or used has changed. Every material object on this world has changed and will continue to change. You could say that the only thing that cannot change is the fact that everything is changing. We should contemplate on this impermanence until it's completely understood. Notice when the mind drifts away from this topic, impermanence. What is impermanence? The profundity of it. The mind drifts away from the topic. We are to catch it and stay with the topic. And perhaps the most important thing of all is the body that we see every day and that we experience moment by moment. Changes every moment. We can all come up with different examples of impermanence. But what does it really mean for us? if everything is changing, and if we totally understand this, then how can that change our world? And remember, the difficult thing is staying with the topic. Impermanence. What does it mean for you? What does it mean for life? Is there something that we are expecting to not change, that we don't want it to change? Is that causing problems for us in any way? Is there any stress or suffering related to change? The prevention of it? Okay. Feel free to open your eyes gently. Bring yourself back into the room. For some of you, that might not have felt any different than just thinking or ruminating about something. For some of you, maybe it was a little bit of a deeper situation. To be able to spend that much time just on one topic, and I was guiding you and kind of coaching you and kind of giving you some ideas of how a person might think of the topic of impermanence. Normally, I wouldn't be guiding you through this anyway. You would be just doing it yourself. You'd have the topic, and then, but we're not supposed to be relying on what we've heard or read or anything. That's true with all insights. And the Buddha said that many, many times, don't believe what you read, and don't believe what I tell you, that we should experience it for ourselves. And that can mean different things to different people. How do we experience something for ourselves? I think contemplation is one way of doing it. To really be aware of if any of this information is being fed to you, and that's why I'm just reminding you that, through this guiding, I'm just trying to, give you some kind of coaching you on what might come up in your own mind, different ways. The analogy of the diamond. Actually, that's one thing that came up for me, like what is almost non-impermanent? A diamond is like what we consider the hardest substance known to man, right? But yet it still deteriorates on a microscopic level. It'll be around a lot longer than we are, because this flesh, is going to deteriorate faster. But that's what it's leading up to, and it literally is the ego is not our amigo, because we get so attached to this, and that's what it kind of leads to. We're looking at what is there to really get attached to, and that attachment is our suffering in many ways. And our seeking is the suffering, that we're looking and looking and looking for things that are going to provide happiness, but it can't be found out there. And when we realize that ourselves, through contemplation or through our practices period, then it really hits home. But if somebody says, you can be totally liberated by, giving up to seeking and stop attaching to things, you'll be a lot better. You'll be free. I said, okay, thank you. So if we hear it from somebody else, it's like, yeah. But we have to get it inside. We have to really send it home, wherever that home is. That was 13, like these steps. That's 13 in the area of the anapanasati, or within this tetrad, the mind objects. The next one is, there's different ways to word these, but it has to do with attachment. Just dissolving attachment. What would it be like not to attach to anything? What kind of freedom would that provide for us? Pretty profound. So again, close your eyes.
Not be attached to anything?
Anything.
Absolutely anything?
Anything.
It's hard to even imagine, right? Imagine no possessions. That isn't hard to do.
John Lennon. So please close your eyes. And contemplate and examine the state of mind that is being disenchanted with everything that it has desired and grasped. What would it be like to be disenchanted with everything that we have desired and that we have grasped onto? Things that are sticky for us, if they have no meaning. Remember how the mind found something and thought that it was so important. And at that moment, it could have actually been seen as the most important thing in your world. Remember finding something that is the most cherished thing in your entire world. But it used to be. So now notice how that enchantment and attachment has faded and dissolved. try thinking of a time when you had responsibilities for someone or something. Maybe your responsibility was to care for or take care of this person or thing. Notice how this may have felt like a burden to you a little bit. And it could have been a burden for several people, not only you, but possibly others as well. And then think of the freedom that was left when that burden was lifted. When you were free from the responsibility of caring for that person or thing. Contemplate on the sensation that is felt when that attachment or any attachment is dissolving. Where you don't have to have anything to do with it anymore. So you're completely freed from attachment. And of course, this is the attachments that we're aware of. Not to mention the attachments that we're unaware of. And perhaps many times the dissolving of an attachment finally makes us aware of the attachment itself. So was there a time when you were freed from a responsibility? Maybe freed from your own negative habit? Freed from an addiction? Just take a moment and look at where you are today and go back and see your old attachments. And then again, look into the present moment and see how they have dissolved and see the freedom that was brought to you because of this dissolving of the attachment. And think of the attachment to our own bodies that we have. Contemplate on how giving up the attachment to all possessions, including the body, how would this feel for you at the time of death? Would it make death easier? No attachments, nothing sticky. Use concentration to stay with the topic. The dissolving of attachment. Take a nice deep breath and open your eyes slowly, please. Dissolving attachment. Another area that causes suffering for us, or can cause suffering for us. I mentioned sticky because a lot of times people look at attachment as these things that we grasp towards and we come into contact with them, and it's just like glue. We like something, and I can see a long strand of glue that's attached to this thing, and there's all sorts of them. It could be a mental attachment or a physical attachment, things that we gravitate towards, all the time. I'll keep it a little bit short. Okay, please close your eyes and make yourself comfortable. Take a nice deep breath. And contemplate on how all conditioned things are in actuality never really owned. And actually things are borrowed and they're used. And they can be cared for and appreciated, but not truly owned. And actually everything returns to the earth to some degree. Everything is returned to where it has come from. The same is true with the human body. The human body cannot be owned. It is merely borrowed. It can be cared for, but it is essentially similar to a winter coat. A coat can be used. It can most certainly be worn. We can lay it out when not in need. We can clean it. We can show it off. We can clean it some more. We can show it off a little more. We can take the coat in and have it repaired. We can repair it ourselves. We can watch this coat age, this old winter coat perhaps. We can travel with it. We can even abuse it. We can mistreat this coat. We can love it and miss it when it's not there. And since it's a material thing, since the body is a material thing, like a coat, the body must eventually be given up. And like the coat, the body slowly returns back to its natural form. Both the body and the coat return from where it came from, its natural form. So at the time of death, what can we actually take with us? Where are we going and what do we need? And why did we feel that we needed ownership before death? What did wanting to own something and control something, what has that done for us? Do we actually own anything, or is it all simply borrowed? taking a subject or a topic, such as the perception of ownership, and contemplating on it, not allowing the mind to go beyond this contemplation. This is the aspect of concentration. And this is access concentration, where we're using concentration along with meditation and contemplation to take us deeper along this path. So to use contemplation, find our intended topic, visualize a circle around it so we don't go beyond that, or actually physically write it on a piece of paper and imagine that that paper is the boundary, not allowing your thoughts or your pondering to go beyond that. That's the true form of contemplation in order to get the deeper meaning of all of these teachings and all these topics, all these dhammas, insights. If you like. Thank you, everyone. You'll receive an email from me that'll outline all of this stuff and everything that we talked about, and more will be on there. And then just let me know if there's any questions.